Section 8.1 is all about single payment loans. So I just want to make a distinction between this section and all the other sections that we're going to be looking at. A single payment loan is a loan that you repay all at once. So most of the time when we think about a loan, we think about something that you take out a big chunk of money and you pay it back little by little over an extended period of time. A single payment loan is typically something that's a pretty short-term loan. It's usually for a smaller amount of money, but you pay it back all at once. So you pay back the amount that you borrowed and the interest amount. So some definitions that are going to be important for us, just mostly for this section. Term is something that we're going to talk about throughout all the different kinds of loans, whether they're single payment or installment. So term is just how long is the loan for? Is it 8 months? Is it 32 months? Is it 24? It's usually a multiple of 6. So like 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, something like that. Ordinary interest. We calculate by basing the time of the loan on a 360-day year, which seems kind of strange to me, but they do it sometimes. And then exact interest is calculated by basing the time of the loan on a 365-day year, which makes more sense because that's how many days are in a year. So the two formulas that we're going to use, one is for ordinary interest, the other is for exact interest. So if we just want to find interest in general, we take the principal times the rate times the time. If it's ordinary interest, we're going to divide by 360 because ordinary means that we're basing it on a 360-day year. If it's exact interest, we're going to take that principal rate times time and we're going to divide it by 365. The maturity value is the principal, which is the amount that you've borrowed, plus the amount of interest, which is what you get from either calculating the ordinary interest or the exact interest. All right, so on number one, we have Tim. His bank gave him a single payment loan. That means that he's only going to pay this all back all at once. He's not going to pay it back little by little. So he has a single payment loan. He has $7,200. He borrowed $7,200 for 91 days, and the interest rate is 6%. So we have to figure out the maturity value of the loan if they're using ordinary interest. And we want to figure out the maturity value for the loan if they're using exact interest. So we'll do ordinary here. And we'll do exact over here. So remember, these two calculations, the first calculation that we're going to do is just going to be the interest amount. It's not going to be the maturity value. And what we want to calculate is the maturity value. So to find the amount of ordinary interest, we're going to take the principal times the rate times the time and then divide that by 360. So we are going to take 7,200 times the rate, and again this has to be in decimal form, so 0.06 times 91 because that's how many days this is for. Oops, 91, not 90. And then we're going to divide that by 360. So we get 7,200 times 0.06 times 91, divide that by 360, and the amount of interest that we have to pay is $109.20. So we have to pay $109.20. So the maturity value, though, is the amount that you borrowed, so that's the 7,200, plus the interest that we just calculated, that's the 109.20. And that amount that we would have to pay back, the maturity value, is 7309.20. All right, so let's see what happens when we do exact interest. So the amount for exact interest is we take the principal times the rate times the time, and this time instead of dividing by 360, we're going to divide by 365. So the top part is going to be exactly the same. 7,200 times 0.06, because that's our interest rate, times 91, but now instead of dividing by 360, we're going to divide by 365. And we get 107.70. 107.70. That's the amount of interest, but we have to calculate the maturity value, which means we're going to pay back that $7,200 plus this exact interest that we just figured out, 107.70. So 7307.70 is the amount for the exact interest that we would pay back.